21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
The first question could be, is there anything entrepreneurs can learn from skiing?
From skiing, from snow skiing.
Yes, because you're passionate about skiing.
I think there's some interesting things that you could correlate with almost any sport, but skiing in general. I think, there's a risk of danger, of course, and when you think about it, maybe you're going to a ski resort, you're on the slopes, that's one thing, right? But once you venture outside, maybe into the trees, or you're kind of all on your own, and a lot of what you do, out on the mountain to survive, those decisions you make, those split-second decisions, I think could frankly correlate to a business. I think a lot of it is in trusting in yourself, right? Trusting, that turn on the mountain, making sure, okay, I got to trust that I'm going to turn, but not only here, but I'm going to make the next turn, which is the harder of the two turns, right? And I think that, you could correlate that to business as well. You make a pivot, let's say in a business, but that's probably not going to be your last pivot. It's the next one that's really the one that maybe saves the ship, so to speak.
What are the benefits and drawbacks of dropping out of high school?
Gosh, the benefits and drawbacks of dropping out of high school. The benefits is you don't have any parents to guide you. The drawbacks are there's no one to guide you, right? So you're kind of off on your own. And I think when in my case, not only did I drop out of school, but I was living on my own. And I think when you combine those two things together, it's really about surviving. Now, I come from a family of, reasonable, I wouldn't say we were a crazy wealthy family, but, we weren't bad off. I always know that I could go home. Right. So let's just get that out of the way. Right. But that said, I didn't want to go home. Right. I didn't want to go back to the family. So in a sense, it's like kind of sink or swim environment. Right. You have to, again, going back to that trust thing. Right. At a young age, I had to just trust that I could make it, and that, that a little perseverance, a little heads down, maybe, the money that I was making didn't always go to the landlord, right? And maybe it went to something else. But at the end of the day, I had to trust that I was going to succeed and make it in life.
What personality qualities do you believe were to blame for skipping high school, and which ones are helping you now in your business?
Yeah, I would say that when I was growing up, my mother taught me to be incredibly, self-sufficient, right? She really drilled into me, be responsible for yourself, do your own things. In a way that set me up for a career of being self-driven, right? The downside to that is I'm so self-driven, I'm not always the best employee, right? I'm the disruptor. I'm always asking the questions. I'm always saying, well, why did we do it like that? Could we do it better? Could we do it different? So it takes to manage me, right? It takes a little bit of finagling. Not only am I a crazy artist, a little bit rebellious, all of those things kind of all wrapped in one, but then you kind of have to manage me and kind of keep me in line. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. It's gotten me this far, so I'm okay with it, I guess.
And what is your approach to disruption in industry, by the way?
Yeah, my approach to disruption, that's a good question. I don't know that I have an approach, like a full-fledged approach. I think that I'm always questioning whether or not, why do we do it this way, right? And even in my own self, why do I get up in the morning and, take a shower first thing and have a cup of coffee? Like, who made that, right? Who decided that, right? That was the way. So I think having this openness to being willing to look at things another way. I also think technology plays a big role in that. It's constantly changing, right? So therefore, our lives are constantly changing, and the way we do things are constantly changing. I wish, companies like Apple would stop changing, their methods, because every time I look at that thing, it's like a new font or a new this. It's very confusing. So you kind of have to adapt. You have to be able to adjust, in any which way. I think that's really important. I also, I'm a disruptor in the furniture industry, right? This is a bunch of like archaic, old guys that basically set up this business, in North Carolina way back in the day. So, to disrupt that, to push the buttons of that is, it's different. It's not, these guys are set in their ways. And so, I don't know. How disruptive am I? I'm in the scheme of things, I'm not. I'm just trying to get a sofa delivered in a reasonable time and provide all the things that people want when they purchase something, and really change that method of buying a sofa shouldn't be a drag. I always say it shouldn't suck, right? It should be fun. It's a big purchase.
Regarding buying sofa, what companies would you take analogs from, and what to stand out from?
What companies? Yeah. So, I think, my previous employer, Restoration Hardware, RH, Gary Friedman, the CEO of RH, he's done a lot of amazing things. He's almost not anti, online sales, but he's, that's not his thing. His thing is building these giant stores and presenting this brand in a way. I think there's a lot to take from that, right? How we present the brand, whether it's online or in store. So I find a lot of inspiration from what he's done. And, he's been my boss multiple times, in my career. So I do appreciate him. I think there's some other people that have also, that maybe I wouldn't follow. Lazy Boy, a good example, right? They are a company that, is kind of, while they're a public company, they're very successful. They're much more successful than I am. But I think there's a group of us that are whittling away at them, right? They're the old Lazy Boy recliner, right? How does a company like that stay fresh? And so I don't look down on them, but I certainly don't watch them to figure out which direction I should be headed.
Regarding the direction, what do you think sets Benchmade Modern apart from other furniture brands?
I think the main thing that sets us apart would be, really our timeline, our custom. We make a custom sofa within 5-inch increments, made in 4 to 5 weeks, right? Nowadays, that's happening in here in the United States. That's like a 6-month, wait time. And so we're doing it, in a quarter of that time. And I think that's one of the things that makes us different. I'll tell you the thing that makes us different that I don't think that most people realize. And this is really a personal pet peeve of mine. I try to put the best possible materials, what I call under the hood. So if you take a sofa online and you look at Mar Sofa and their sofa online, it looks the same, really. I mean, they're not that much different looking. But when you get that sofa home, you can tell a whole difference of them. And it's somewhat of a selfish thing, right? I put the best materials in the product because I don't really want to ever hear from you again. I mean, honestly, I don't want to hear, come back, oh, it just didn't work, that, it's like that actually costs me more money. And I think that at that point, we're not turning that customer into a brand advocate, right? They're not actually out there saying, this thing is awesome. So I spend a little bit more money on materials. And at the end of the day, I think we have a better quality product. I don't think people, maybe we don't even do a great job of really explaining that. But I think that it's what really makes us different compared to some of our competitors. I think the question that they're asking is when I started the company, what was I like? What was it like, right? And then from there, we've grown throughout the years, right? And now what is it like? And I think in the beginning, when I very first started, I was making furniture. I mean, we've even made furniture in our backyards as we've struggled with, ups and downs and, making it and not making it, success and failures and all that. I am a creative person, just inherently I'm creative, right? That's like, I reek of it. As our company has gotten bigger, some of that creativity has been stripped away because we can no longer pivot and make these changes as quickly as I would have back then. Mm-hmm. On the flip side of that, it allows me, I now have the financing, the funds to be able to afford some of the things that we want to do. So do I have to be as creative, right? Do I have to find a hack? Back then I only found a hack, mm-hmm. To get my way there. Nowadays, while I don't have the biggest budget, of them all, I can find like a half hack, right? I can be a creative way to get to this point. And I think that that's really the difference between then and now. I'm more comfortable now, right? I'm, I don't mean like a financial basis. I mean, mentally, I'm more comfortable, right? I'm not as worried, that the company is going to die, right? Do we have enough money to pay the phone bill, and pay the rent, right? I that's not even on my brain anymore, right? Of course we do. But, am I going to meet the goals that I've set out, to meet that I've told everyone I'm going to do? That's the new thing that's kind of on my mind on a more consistent basis these days.
And what about personality traits?
Yeah.
So for all those new entrepreneurs listening to us at this moment, are there any personality traits that you have that helped you in the process? Yes.
Personality traits are so important because everything is judged on that, right? So every interaction is based on every interaction is, every meeting is judged on that interaction, right? So maybe when I was younger, I was a little bit more of a punk ass, right? I was a little bit more, confrontational or judgmental. And maybe I wore that on my sleeve a little bit more. I think these days I'm a little bit less judgmental. I'm a little bit more reserved. I'm older, right? I'm actually just older. I'm a little wiser, right? I'm not as cocky as maybe I was in the past. I think that there's a time when you get a little bit older, you start to kind of step back and say, you know what? I don't know everything. I'm not the best marketer. I'm not the best furniture designer. I'm not even the best furniture maker, right? But I know what I don't know, right? And I'm willing to let other people take a stab at it and let them shine instead of always being the one that has to outshine everybody.
And regarding those guidelines, any specific daily routine you have and what kind of mindset you think entrepreneur needs to have to succeed?
I don't know that I have a daily regiment or, I'm not one for the same thing over and over again. I do have an interesting story that I think is along those same lines that I can share with you. I have felt, in the last 2 years, we've all, been avoiding COVID. We've been at home. We've been, just locked down in so many different ways. I've lost some of that creativity. I call it a COVID slump, right? And how do I get out of that COVID slump? And I spent some time, I don't know, maybe it was a month ago. And I really started to kind of inward look at myself. My wife was complaining like, gosh, come on, can you get to that old self where you're excited about everything? And I really realized like, I'm kind of in this slump. How do I break myself out? So what did I do? So, and this kind of where it ties back into regiment and how do you maneuver your mentality one way or another? I went back to what inspired me, right? Street art, architecture, like photography, right? Those are the things that inspire me. So I went out on a daily basis and I would photograph those things. I would go to places that were particularly rich in that sort of, graffiti and street art and modern architecture. And I would study those again. And lo and behold, it got me excited and it got me thrilled to actually like do the things that I'm good at. And it really started to lift me up. And I hope, it's gotten me out of that slump. I can feel it. I'm not 100% out and about, but I can definitely feel that moment of time when I focused on what used to get me excited, it worked and kind of brought me back to a creative and fun entrepreneur.
So your vibe and the vibe of your teams, any specific words or experiences that are manifested in your products?
Yeah, manifested in my product. I mean, there's a lot of me within the brand. First of all, our brand tagline is rebellious luxury, right? What is rebellious luxury, right? That's something that is very dear to me. I'm a, ex-graffiti artist, skateboarder, all this. I actually rebel against the norm of this new luxury world we live in, right? When you walk into a store, hello, Mr. Blazona, may I get you a latte while you shop for a sofa? Hell no, I don't want a latte. Like, I don't want a latte while I shop for a sofa, nor do I really want you to call me Mr. Blazona, right? Like there's a part of me, but I still want luxury. I still want quality, right? But I don't want all that foo-foo-ness that goes around with, luxury. So I think that there's something that we try to convey. It's a really difficult thing to convey, through photography, through words. I'm constantly telling my team, no retail speak. Do not speak retail. Speak like you would speak to your friends. Now, maybe you're not dropping F-bombs and all that, but we are kind of communicating in a way that we wished that we were communicated to. And I think that there's real value in that. And I think what you were really asking is, how does that lead back to, my design, what we sell, how we sell it and all that. And you see that there's little nuances, our sofa names, couch potato, OG couch potato. These are terms that are kind of dear to us that we all know what they mean. But let me tell you, Restoration Hardware is not calling their stuff, couch potato and OG anything and all that. I mean, that's just not in their, in their brand vocabulary, but it is for us. And so we hope that conveys, and all our messaging conveys this somewhat rebellious as we can be, yet, still at the end of the day, let you know that we're not going to steal your credit card and, and go running off with it. We're actually going to send you a badass piece of furniture that, will fit in any luxury home. I'll tell you a fun story that happened along the way. I used to do all my own local deliveries. I did this like in my truck, right? Like my own pickup truck in the Bay Area. I thought, okay, I will, it's cost us like, let's say $200, $250 to deliver in the Bay Area, to deliver a sofa from the Bay Area warehouse into their home. $250, like that's no chump change, right? So I thought, okay, I will deliver all my own Bay Area sofas in the back of my pickup truck. I already own one, right? And so I would go to these people's homes and, I'd show up, I'm already here to make your delivery, sir. How can I help? That kind of thing. And people would say to me the strangest things. They would say, I'm sorry, but we paid, for white glove delivery, and I look, I have every order on my phone. I didn't tell them who I was. I didn't tip my hat, right? But I would say, well, sir, I'm sorry, my paperwork, like my paperwork. Yeah, right. My paperwork here shows, you only have curbside delivery, but I'm a nice guy. I'm happy to help you carry it inside. We can carry it in together. We'll unbox it together. We'll carry it in together, which is no small feat. Like that's a time-consuming, long process. And so, they would say all kinds of stuff. Well, I paid. I need to talk to your boss, and all that kind of stuff. Well, he's not available. That kind of thing. And so I would help them. At the end of the day, I'd help them carry it in, or I'd even carry it in for them on dollies and all that. And I would always lean in at the end. I would lean in, and I'd say, well, it was nice meeting you, Mr. Johnson. I'm Edgar Blazona. I'm the designer and owner of the brand. And I put out my hand, to shake their hand. And, they look at me like, first of all, I'm not shaking the delivery guy's hand, right? And then on top of that, they'd be like, oh God, I don't know what to do. I just lied, basically. I just told him all this story. He knows that, I didn't have white glove delivery. I made a big stink about it, and all that. And I would always get away. I'd get in the truck and I would drive away and I'd be like, that's one for the delivery guys, right? Like that jerk will never do that again because he doesn't know necessarily who's delivering his stuff and who's not. So that's a fun one. People always ask me, how can they, find out more about my brand and all that, and what should I do, and of course I tell them, go to Benchmade Modern. But the thing that I always say is go to our swatch, free swatches, right? You can click on this button and we send you a giant box. It's got 100 swatches in it. It's a huge 14 by 14 box. I send it second to air. You wonder why I send it second to air, right? It's a signal, right? This is a marketing play, right? What we do is we send you this box second to air and we get it into your door. It's kind of a signal saying we mean business, like, and then you get all these janky little envelopes with these little teeny swatches from everyone else as you wait. And you remember at the back, like those guys sent me that big giant box. And so that's part of that process. Another thing we do, and a lot of people miss this, but we if you go to our product pages, you can hit a print button. We actually send you a giant piece of paper, full scale piece of paper of your sofa, whatever custom size sofa that you ordered, huge piece of paper, a corner sectional, whatever. And you lay it out on the floor and you can see, like, does my husband fit in between the arms? Can he lay down in between the arms, take a nap? Does my family fit on it? Does it fit in the room? Will the sofa fit here with my chair? All of that. We send that all to you. And again, going back to like, for you, it's this great piece of, of paper that really kind of seals the deal. But for us, it's, again, more signaling, right? More signaling to say, we mean business, we're quality. And again, we're not just going to take a credit card and run with it, right? And so I think that's part of, our whole thing is to, really get you to the site and give you this stuff and really make you comfortable with the purchase.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.